When I read or heard of your new rule for procrastination, my number one away from value shifted. Can you please explain what else you did to move away from procrastination? I've started reciting your example daily with my oath of manifestation. Love that. The only thing you should ever procrastinate on is procrastination. When it comes to something like procrastination, we've explained what this is in terms of the pattern that's driving it. The pattern that's driving procrastination is the fear you're not good enough. It's fear of failure, which means that my mind opens up two corridors. And at the end of this corridor that I'm going to be walking down in terms of the thing that I've got to do, there is a probability at the end that when I open the door at the end of that corridor, I will succeed or fail. So let's say I've got to do a business plan. Let's say I've got to go and call 5 new prospects or whatever. At the end of that corridor, I've already calculated in my mind unconsciously the percentage of win-lose. And if the percentage is higher on the lose, my brain is going to try to focus me on a different corridor where at the end of that corridor, it's a higher percentage of win because I'm avoiding the fear of failure. You follow? That's what procrastination is. It is an autoimmune, psychological autoimmune disease to prevent you from experiencing the fear of failure, okay? And which is why it'll point to a corridor where you know you can win. Cleaning my cupboard, checking my email, scrolling through social. Very low level of fear of failure on that one, so let me run down that corridor. There's procrastination explained in terms of human behavior that most people never understand, which is why most people try to teach motivation to conquer it, and it never will be motivating. So motivation will never work long term because it's not addressing, you can't motivate yourself outside of fear of failure. What you have to do is surrender the fear of failure. And most fears of failure, we amplify the consequences in our mind because it's linked to the fear that I'm not enough, which is linked to the fear that I won't be loved, which is a primal, close to death kind of thing you want to avoid. Whereas, hang on, if the 5 people that I'm going to call say no, what's the worst can happen? I'm further along to a yes. You know something? Yeah, if they say no, no big deal. You surrender the fear of failure. Because the vast majority of what procrastination does is it links it to a higher than real consequence. Consequences on that. Usually the consequences of not doing it are far, far greater, but your brain won't tell you that when it's trying to protect you. So let's just understand the pattern for a start. Now, when it comes to conquering procrastination, apart from reciting that away from value, which brings your energy into a level of resistance, saying, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. You want to build yourself a momentum cycle. Momentum cycles are so underrated. And what it means is doing a little bit makes it easier to do a little bit more. That's one of the rules. Doing a little bit makes it easier to do a little bit more. How many people have found that out when they said, I'll just stay for one drink? Right? Right. So a momentum cycle, let's take going to the gym. I hit the gym today for the first time in a month because I've been traveling and there just wasn't an opportunity. Now, I've got no issues on hitting the gym. I did my famous 7-minute leg workout today. I took my buddy Colin, who's over with us. I think I destroyed him because I didn't see him for the rest of today. But it's if I was going to do a momentum cycle, because it's harder to pick it up the longer you've left it. Have you noticed that? Meditation, anyone? Morning routine, anyone? Yada, yada, yada. Journaling, anyone? You get the idea. It's harder to pick it up the longer you've left it. So let's come back to the premise. It's easier to do a little more once you've done a little, right? So let's say it's been a month since I've gone to the gym. Now, again, it doesn't apply to me today because I just went and kicked my ass in the gym. But let's just say it's been a month, and therefore, if I've missed 30 days, it is a damn sight easier to miss 31. If I haven't missed a day in 30 days, it's a lot harder to miss 31. Yeah, follow? But if you've missed 30 days and you associate getting back in shape and getting back to the gym with, oh, that's a bigger mountain to climb, it's a bigger gap to jump, you're going to let that gap get wider, and then it's not going to get any better unless you hit a pain threshold where you force yourself to get back. So if you haven't been to the gym for 30 days, what about getting out of bed and doing 5 push-ups? That's easy. Don't have to worry about going to get out of bed, do 5 push-ups. A little bit. Do it 2-3 days in a row. And do 10. 2-3 days in a row. And do 10 and some squats or some wall sits or whatever. And before you know it, that little has become a lot easier to do a little more. And now the gap to going to the gym becomes smaller. And now it's easier. You know something? Screw this stuff doing press-ups in the bedroom. I'm going to get my ass in the gym. Now, you can replace gym with prospecting, if you're in network marketing or business. You can replace gym with going out and talking to people in singles bars. You can replace that with pretty much anything. But whatever you're procrastinating is fear of failure. Surrender the fear of failure, but don't get pushed into a corridor that's just easy, because that's just self-destruct under the guise of like a level 3 experience, class 3 experience. And then if you do want to be able to go do something, set yourself up to it and just build a momentum cycle, because then the flywheel of that is a lot easier to carry you forward. Does that help? Cool. Jeff says, I loved the amalgams you've shared. You are the star of your own movie. Nothing to prove, nothing to conquer. You're already that which you seek. I've written down a handful of them. Do you have a list of them somewhere? Or can you shotgun share a bunch of them again right now? Well, as it happens. Oops, hang on. All right. If I was to share my screen, I'll stop the sharing computer. Yes, it will. There you go. This is on the wall of my meditation room for quite a long time. Oh, look at that. There's a whole list of my daily amalgams and focus guide. I've got a few in there. I've got about 5 or 6 other pages as well. And before you all go, oh my God, but I really want them. Quick, quick, put them back. Read them out. Right? I'll send the PDF. In fact, why don't I just put a link in the chat? How does that sound? Right? Now, again, these are mine. Don't have to be yours. And these are from quite a while back, actually, on there. But if I go, let me have a little look. I'll know exactly where they are. I go to Bosch.